Have you ever seen this before? If you answered yes, then I'm guessing you've heard of the most famous amphitheater in the world, the Roman Colosseum. But if you answered no, then worry not, because today we are going to change that. From gladiatorial combats to mock naval battles, this iconic structure hosted a variety of spectacles, some of which were free for the public while others were ticketed events. With a capacity of 50 to 80,000 spectators, it is no wonder why the Colosseum is considered to be one of the greatest architectural achievements of ancient Rome. Construction of the Colosseum began in the year 70 AD under the reign of the Flavian dynasty and was completed 6 years later in 80 AD. The idea was to build an amphitheater close to the Roman Senate to commemorate the dynasty's rise to power. However, the emperor at the time, Titus Flavius Vespasianus, died before the construction was finished. His son Domitian inaugurated the building with 100 pairs of gladiators fighting in the arena. Since then, the Colosseum has been used for various public spectacles such as theatrical performances, animal hunts, executions, and reenactments of famous battles. But how did these shows take place? Let's find out. The Colosseum had 4 distinct levels, each divided into 2 sections by internal arches. The bottom level featured columns in the front with semicircular arches above them. This floor level was supported by 32 massive columns that were 50 feet tall and were made of stone and brick. These columns were designed to support the weight of the upper levels and to withstand the immense pressure of the crowds. Between each column were marble seats for the audience. The middle section had 2 tiers of boxes separated by an arcade. These boxes were rented out to wealthy patrons who wanted to watch the games from a more private area. On the topmost level was a gallery with a continuous frieze decorated with statues of the gods and mythological creatures. Above the gallery was the top tier of seating, which was open to the public. The seating arrangement was designed so that the best seats were reserved for important guests, while the lower, more crowded seats were for the general public. Another interesting feature of the Colosseum was its use of wood. Unlike the stone and concrete structure, the wooden parts were temporary and served as a platform for the various shows and spectacles that took place inside the arena. For example, when the Colosseum was used for theatrical performances, a wooden stage was constructed in the center of the arena. During the mock naval battles, water was pumped into the arena to simulate being at sea, and during the gladiator fights, the wooden platform would be raised to form a raised fighting area. Now let's talk about the different types of entertainment that took place at the Colosseum. The main attraction was undoubtedly the fights between gladiators, which could last anywhere from a few minutes to several hours. There were different types of gladiators, each with their own fighting style and weapons. Some were heavily armored, while others were lightly armored or even naked. The fights were not to the death, but the loser would be executed anyway. Along with gladiatorial combat, the Colosseum also hosted other forms of entertainment, such as wild animal hunts, executions of criminals, and reenactments of famous battles. These shows were popular among the Roman citizens and were seen as a way to provide food for the masses and keep them entertained. In fact, the emperors often used these spectacles as a tool to gain popularity among the public. Sadly, the Colosseum was destroyed over the centuries due to earthquakes, lightning strikes, and the neglect of the city's leaders. Today, only a single story stands, but its legacy lives on in the form of movies, books, and works of art. Visiting the Colosseum today, you can still feel the energy of the crowds and imagine the roar of the crowd as gladiators fought to the death in the center of the arena. So the next time you hear about the Colosseum, remember that it was more than just a building. It was a place where history was made and where the roar of the crowd echoed through the ages. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.